Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. I'm Elsa Rodriguez. For those who don't know me, I'm in charge of Tenerife Work and Play, which is an initiative from the local government of Tenerife, from the Cabildo, which main objective is to attract more digital talent to the island. So we're talking about remote workers, digital nomads, startups, and so on. So we help them establish themselves in the island. We help them with the paperwork and whatever they may need, practical advice. And at the same time, we also coordinate and contribute to the local ecosystem. So we actually host many events all around the year and along the island. So we normally do it physically, but since we are in these times now, we started doing a series of webinars with topics that might contribute and benefit to our community, so to the remote workers that are already based in the island or that are thinking of coming and establishing themselves here. So that we started doing that at the end of March, and this is actually the 6th one that we do. And we are very happy to have with us today Grace Mullen, who is specialized in copywriting. She's a freelancer and she's also based in Tenerife. She will introduce herself in a minute. I just wanted to give some instructions on how we're gonna be doing this today. After I finish, I will give the screen to Grace, and she will go ahead and give us a short presentation. And since we are not many, we want this to be interactive. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and interrupt and ask wherever you need. And before we actually start with the presentation, and since we are not many today, we would like to hear from you. If you want to introduce yourselves in just 1 minute and say why you're joining today, what you would like to take out of this webinar, that would be great. So we get to know each other, and actually Grace also gets an idea of what you guys are looking forward to. So maybe Melanie, we can start with you. Just a few words and why you're here today. Thanks.
Okay, unmute. I'm still getting used to all of this. This is crazy. Okay, so I did start to say my name is Melanie Padron Golding. I'm half Spanish, half English. My father's from Tenerife, from Santa Cruz, but I lived out in the south in Los Cristianos for quite a few years. I'm trying to fit it in 1 minute. Basically, kind of long story short, I'm a singer-songwriter, so I used to sing the circuit down in the south of Tenerife, and I've been backwards and forwards to the UK and to Tenerife for many years. That's my first passion, but then I took on a degree in psychotherapy and counselling in the UK, of course, and I became a qualified counsellor. This is where I'm in Canterbury at the moment because I've just finished my master's in music, but what I want to do is actually to combine my efforts of psychotherapy and music and bring them together, and I'm currently looking to pursue a PhD study which is around the developmental pathways of the artist. So at the moment I'm actually creating quite a few podcasts, and I'm doing quite a lot of blogs, and I've got a website called Facing Males Music, and that literally in a nutshell, that's what it is. So my passion is just to come back to Tenerife as soon as I can. It's my home and I miss it very much. And just to see how I can help the community over there with psychotherapy as well, with the services on an array of levels. Yeah.
Great. That would be great.
Okay.
We're looking forward to seeing you here. It's great. So Maria, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, yeah. So I'm Maria. I am currently in Finland, but I'm moving to Lisbon in 3 weeks, and hopefully maybe coming back to Tenerife when it gets cold in Lisbon. Yeah, so I'm a digital nomad, and I just came back to Finland, where I'm from, because of COVID, and now I am getting out as soon as possible, so in 3 weeks. And so I'm a clarity coach, and I used to be an innovation consultant in London. So currently I am also doing my master's degree. So I'm studying remote innovation teams and like distributed work, especially in service design and innovation, in addition to coaching remote workers and kind of like the human-centric clarity side of things on an individual and team level. So yeah.
Oh, thank you. And we look
nice.
forward also to seeing you back here. Vivian, would you like to just introduce yourself?
Sure, why not? It's really nice to meet all of you. So actually, Melanie, I was just kind of thinking in my head like how we have a lot in common, because I'm actually a psychotherapist, and so I have a health and wellness business, and I'm not any in professional singing at all, but I'm very interested in that, and I do a lot of singing, and I'd like to get into songwriting, so that just really interests me. But that's just personal. And yeah, so I have a health and wellness business. I do some online courses for self-psychotherapy. I have a medical wellness podcast and YouTube channel. And yeah, I just thought this webinar might be interesting, and also to meet some great people. And I live in Tenerife. I'm originally from Canada, Toronto. And yeah, that's it.
Perfect. Great to have you here, Vivian, and hopefully meet you in person soon.
Yeah, that'd be nice. All of you, and you can come to Tenerife. Enjoy our beautiful weather.
Great. Marina, would you like to introduce yourself? A few words.
Okay. Hi, I'm Marina. I'm from Tenerife. I'm native from here. I think I'm the only one. And you too, Elsa.
Yeah, and I think there are a few more.
Okay. Well, I'm a Spanish online teacher. I've been doing that for 2 years, and now I want to learn a little more about marketing and these things. So, in order to improve my business, that's all.
Perfect.
I'm from Tenerife.
Yes, great. Thank you, Marina. Good to see you. Then we have Ivana. I don't know if you can hear us. If you'd like to introduce yourself. You are on mute. I don't know if she wants. Okay. And Ignacio, we cannot see you, but would you like to introduce yourself? Well, I think they don't want to. I'm not sure. Well, you can just jump in anytime if you like. So Grace, the screen is yours if you'd like to introduce yourself, and then we go ahead with a short presentation.
Okay. So my name is Grace. I've been living in Tenerife now for 4 years, and I absolutely love it. I'm based in Santa Cruz, and I came here after studying fashion journalism in London. I did a degree in fashion journalism, and while doing that, I also had a fashion blog and online magazine, which was how I initially got started in writing and the world of copywriting. After university, I decided to freelance a little bit and worked with a few magazines in England, Country Living and Mother and Baby. And that gave me an insight into editorial writing, which I absolutely loved. However, I felt the need to go into more so like marketing and that in that area. And I also wanted to travel and learn Spanish. So I decided to move here, and I got a job in a winery in the north of the island, and I did the marketing for 1.5 years, which was fantastic. Absolutely loved it, and was able to make a lot of different contacts. And then after that, I decided to go freelance and worked for a few agencies here, including Canary PR and Canary Green, which are 2 agencies I'm actually working with right now, doing their copywriting. And in addition to that, I also work with a few other international clients working on project management or translations and anything relating to words, essentially, is what I do. So, shall we get started? Yeah, I'll share my screen with you. Okay. So, first of all, I want to thank you all for being here today and listening to me. And it's lovely to meet you all. So let me see how we can do this. There we go. Okay, so first of all, I want to get started with what is copywriting. This quote that I have found here, for me, perfectly explains what is copywriting. And it is, people do not buy goods and services, they buy relations, stories, and magic. And this quote for me just is so true. People buy into the essence of the brand, what you do, why you do it, and how it makes them feel. It doesn't matter what product you sell or what service you sell, it's what emotion is sparked by your words and your promotion of your goods. That is what converts people to buy your product. So for me, copywriting is the activity of writing promotional materials for a company. So anything from a website to a promotional flyer, an Instagram caption, an about page, an email, anything is copywriting. And to be a good copywriter, you need to be able to tell the story. So you need to be able to tell the world who you are, what you're doing, why you're doing it, and build a world around your product that people can buy into, and they want to feel like they're a part of your world. And to do that, you need to be able to engage them with your copy. So why is copywriting important? Copywriting for me is important because it allows you to reach your target market. Every interaction that people have with your brand should leave them wanting more. They should be able to be like, wow, actually, I want to learn more about that product. I want to learn more about how that can help my life. I want to see if they do more things. So you need to be able to give them a path that they can follow. And you also need to tell them about who you are, what makes you different from the others. Because today, so many people are launching online businesses. So many people want to be coaches or copywriters or marketing experts, but you need to be able to stand out and share what it is that makes you different from the rest. And that is your personality. So understanding that and being able to share that through your words is what makes copywriting so important. There's also the SEO aspect, the search engine optimization. So how you can get your website seen, how you can get your product seen online. And this is from Google rankings. So Google obviously has a lot of websites that it deals with, and you want to get yours to the top of the page so that people click on yours first. And to do this, your copywriting plays an important role. So anything from how you structure your page, what keywords you're using, how you're writing your meta tags, or even alt tags and images, that's all copywriting. And also you need to be able to build consumer trust and relationships. 71% of consumers are likely to recommend a brand that they use to their friends based on the emotional connection that they have with that brand. So you need to be able to build that relationship and build that trust so that these people can recommend you. And 83% of people also think that trustworthiness of a brand and authenticity of a brand is important. They want to see that brands are being transparent about what they stand for, what they're offering. And this all comes through good copywriting. And at the end of the day, you need to sell. So you need to be able to convert, you need to be able to engage, and you need to be able to make people press that buy button and sign up to your course or buy your product or sign up to this webinar, for example. So everything comes down to good copywriting. And so today I am going to show you the essentials of copywriting, which for me is also has the backbone in branding and marketing. They all ties in together. You can't have copywriting on its own. You need to have branding, you need to have marketing, you need to have all these strategies in place, and copywriting is like the glue that sticks it all together. So for me, effective copywriting comes by understanding your brand personality, your brand's voice, and having a clear, strong concept designed to drive your message forward. And once you've clearly defined these, then you can start by interacting with people on social media and making a nice website and doing all the fancy creative things that immediately we get drawn to do. But then we realize, I don't know why people aren't signing up to this and I don't know how to get this seen. First of all, start with the copywriting, and then you'll get to where you want to be. And obviously, I'll show you a little bit how to make it SEO friendly too. So first of all, the personality of the brand. So this involves a little bit of market research to understand how people view your brand from the outside. And the personality of the brand is just like the personality of yourself as well. So as entrepreneurs, we have a personal brand, which is how we present ourselves, the way we dress, the way we act with people, what we are represented by as a person. And the same thing we have with our professional brands. So for example, a wellness business, you'll be showing yourself in a very clean, pure, supportive way. And these are all things that make people feel good and lift people up. So you need to be able to clearly define your personality of the brand before you can begin to communicate with your audience. So for example, Red Bull. Red Bull, for me, is a really active brand. It's adventurous, it's dynamic. And thinking of Red Bull as a person, I would choose someone like Richard Branson. For me, they would be the perfect idea. So here we've got brand personality, and this is a general guide of how they're divided. So you've got sincerity, which is like wholesomeness, honest brands, so Disney, Hallmark, and Cadbury. You've got the excitement. So this is brands like Red Bull, Coca-Cola. These are the ones that really think, wow, these are really cool, these are exciting. They generally sponsor sport events. They're the ones that really are go-getters in life, and all their brand messaging has this exciting energy about it. You've got competence, so brands like tech brands like Google, or car brands like Volvo. These are reliable. These are brands that you know you can trust, that will get the job done and are efficient. You've got sophistication, so brands like Tiffany & Co, Rolex, Gucci, and Apple. These are higher class brands. These are luxury items, and all their wording, all their storytelling creates a luxury world that draws you in, and you think, wow, it's aspirational, I want to be there. And you've got ruggedness, which is brands like Harley Davidson, Timberland, Jeep, and Marlboro. So these are, again, a bit like the excitement, but more earthy, more outdoorsy, and a tougher brand. So less fun and more tough. So these are all aspects of brand personality. And next we've got the voice of the brand. So now you've decided who your brand is, you then need to decide how you're going to communicate this with the world. So every brand has something to say. Every brand stands for something. You need to think about what is the message you want to portray to the world. For example, Tenerife Work and Play would be a place where online entrepreneurs can come and learn, can network, and can develop their skills in a fun and welcoming environment. So your voice would be something that's welcoming, that's supportive, that's fun, but also authoritative, because you're the authority on Tenerife for this niche. So you need to be able to have a strong voice to be able to stand out from the crowd. Otherwise, you'll be just speaking a lot and no one will be paying any attention to what you're saying. So yeah, this is decided by who your personality is, essentially. Once you've decided the two, your personality and the voice, then it's now that you can come up with the concept of the brand. So this is something that unifies the brand communication. It's the why you're doing something. So you have a product, you have your brand, you know what you want to do, but you just don't know why you're doing it. And so this is the concept that you need to come up with before you can even begin to write any copy for your website or for your blogs or for anything, because understanding the why yourself will be able to help people, your target market, understand who you are, what it is, and why they need to listen to you and understand you and buy your products. So this is based on a huge cultural context of the brand. So where you want to position yourself in culture, in society, how you want to help reduce the anxiety of the consumer, and basically why people should be choosing you over everybody else. So Nike did a really great concept campaign called Dream Crazier. This sparked a huge revolt in the United States and it actually won a Cannes Advertising Award. This campaign was inspired by female athletes in light of the football tournament in France, which is a female football tournament in France. These athletes have overcome so many things in their life, and Nike wanted to portray this in a campaign. So they want to inspire others to chase their dreams. The whole concept behind this campaign was, if your dreams are crazy, make them crazier, you know? So they did a very good job with this, and the whole advertising campaign was really simple, clean cut photography with just a few lines of text. And this few lines of text had a huge big rationale behind it, but the actual concept was very clean and concise and easy to understand. And this little diagram here is it's called the golden circle, and the golden circle is the why. So to be able to understand your concept and your voice and your personality, you need to answer these questions: the what, the how, and the why. So you need to define what you're doing, how you're doing it, and how you're special, and then understand why you should be doing it, why people need to be spending money, and why your product or service exists. So once you understand this, you'll be able to understand exactly how to reach your target market. So now comes the fun part. This is the practical copywriting tips. These are the things that every day when I sit down to work with my clients, these are the tips that I have to think about and I take into account when I'm writing content for them. So the first one is use emotion to convert your audience. Emotion sells. So we every day experience a whole wealth of emotions, from anything to happiness, to desire, to stress, to frustration. There's a whole range of emotions that we feel, and we have triggers, things that make us feel this. So you need to use emotion to your advantage to be able to get into the mindset of your target market. You need to be able to understand what problems they have in their life, what is their annoyance, what makes them go crazy, and how your product or service offers a solution to that. And so what I would always do before I sit down to write anything would be, for example, I have a client who, I don't know, could be offering a cooking pot, a non-stick cooking pot, something so ordinary, so basic, and you think, how the hell am I going to write about this? Then you think about the problems. So, if you're frying an egg and it gets stuck to the cooking pot, that's annoying. Having to clean it, if it gets all the grease and everything. So you have to think about these problems that people will have, these everyday issues. And then you fix an emotion to each one of the problems in your list. And then you think about the features of the product you're writing about or the service you're writing about. And you need to link it to these emotions and these problems so that you end up with a structure that you can then turn into effective copy. So when someone reads it, you're like, oh my God, this is what happens to me. This is what I need this because I suffer from this, or I need this in my life because that would just save me so much time, or I know nothing about this. And this is always something I've wanted to learn about. So something that just eases their anxiety and shows them how it makes them feel, how they can incorporate into their life rather than just listing off the benefits of the product. You need to make it real for them because maybe they don't know what you're selling. So tip number one, use emotion. And put the consumer first, put the customer first. Quite often is the case that brands have a fixed idea about what they want and how they want to sell and what they personally like themselves. And they think everybody should like that because I like that and it's my brand. No, you've got to listen to your target market. Look at what they need. Look at what they like to do, where they want to go and read, where they want to go and socialize, how they socialize. And you need to be able to understand this to be able to put your brand in front of them. So if putting the customer first means that you're using less jargon and more simple language, then so be it. You'll understand, they will understand it more, they'll feel more comfortable with you, and you're providing them a service and reducing their anxiety at the end of the day, which will help them buy. So even though if you want to seem that you know everything and show that you're the top leading so-and-so of your industry, by using technical language, you're actually turning people away. So in terms of things like this, then put the customer first, understand what they want, what they need. And it sounds really simple, but a lot of the cases it's actually not done. So understanding the consumer as well is a huge, huge, huge thing. Understanding who your target market is and what makes them tick is a really big tip. And also being consistent in your writing style. Nowadays, writing one blog post and then it needs to link with your website, it needs to link with your social media. It all goes back to having your brand voice. So you don't know nowadays where people will enter in on the funnel on your business. Maybe they'll find you through social media. Maybe they'll find you through Google. Maybe they'll find you via someone else's blog post and then click on the link to go through you. So making sure that anything that's written about you or your brand or your services, it all needs to sit under the same tone of voice, show the same personality for your brand. It needs to be watertight, because you don't want someone to read a blog post and think, wow, you know, this company's really good and I feel really relaxed reading this and I feel that they understand everything. And then they go to, I don't know, say the homepage of your website, and then they feel, oh, actually, something feels quite aggressive, and it feels like they're just telling me what to do and telling me what I need, and actually they're not listening to me. So you need to have the same tone of voice throughout every aspect of your writing, whether it's something on Instagram, the way you're replying to a client on Instagram or a comment, or anything.
Actually, Grace, I have a question on this, because I'm always doubting how to do it. So I understand what you say about being consistent with how you, or what you write, etc. But would you change the actual style depending on the channel? So do you change the way you write in LinkedIn versus Instagram or Facebook?
Yeah,
how would you do
you
that?
would change. Yeah, so for example, for social media, each channel is different. So you've got Instagram, which is more visual. You've got Facebook, which is more as if you're talking to a friend. You've got LinkedIn, which is more professional. However, as a person, when you go and meet with one friend, and then you go and meet with another, and then you go and meet with your boss, you're still the same person everywhere you go and whoever you talk to. And you still have, your tone of voice may change slightly, but you will still have the same essence about you. So in terms of, for example, Instagram and LinkedIn, you'll be less inspiring, but more informative and educational, perhaps. But wherever you go, you want to be inspiring. So you know that your audience on LinkedIn is going to want something relating to their career. So you're part of your brand that relates to, for example, wellness in the workplace. You can choose to put that kind of content on LinkedIn. On Instagram, it could be something that asks them to disconnect from their problems. So you're still having the same line of communication about trying to promote wellness or trying to promote productivity or whatever you want to promote. However, knowing exactly which topics to discuss, I think, would be how to do it, rather than changing your tone of voice, because your tone of voice should be, it should be able to inform and entertain and inspire and educate wherever you are, on whatever platform. However, you just want to amp it up a little bit on one and reduce it on another, maybe, perhaps. So, but you don't want to change drastically.
Okay.
So it doesn't, I think trying to decide, okay, now I'm on LinkedIn and I've got to do it like this, I think is the wrong decision, because people might actually feel a different way about you if they know you just on LinkedIn, and if they see everything else all together, they may feel, actually, I never knew they were like this. I never knew they did this. So keeping it all concise, I think, is concise and relevant. So you can hear the dog barking in the background. But yeah, just consistent. I mean, have a style guide. And I think it's the same, if you decide that you're writing your brand and you want it to be really international, so you're using American English, it's stuff like keeping the American English used throughout all your platforms. Or if you want to write numbers as words instead of actual numbers, knowing that on all your platforms you need to do that too. So, or is that if you refer to a certain product and it always capitalized, again, you want to make sure it's capitalized everywhere you're writing that product name. So it's consistency as well, like that, not just tone of voice. It's consistency in the little things, the details, which actually makes your writing stronger, and it builds more trust, because wherever you're going, people recognize that as, oh, okay, this is genuine. This is definitely written by this company because I recognize this style. So with Apple, for example, the iPad, they always use the lowercase I and the capital P for iPad, iPhone. So you know that's their consistent style of writing their product names. And
just thought I'd say something on that. It's actually really interesting to hear you say that, because one of the elements of counselling and in psychotherapy is consistency, right? So the counsellor always shows up on time. The counsellor's always got the same sort of tone. And I was just thinking, you actually said the word, that it must be to do with trust, you know, even little, you know, such as fonts, the font size and the same style of fonts. And so it's quite incredible how that just really impacts on the public, on the people, and how that they build that trust, hence they will either come back or not, because it's feeling safe, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Feeling safe and knowing that you're getting good quality as well in return. So if you think, oh, actually this could be a fake, and then you start to getting anxious and you start to lose your trust in the company, you start to doubt, and that's when it all starts to fall apart, and they'll go to your competitor. So making sure everything, you know, and if you're selling a wellness, I'm using wellness as an example because I think we all relate to that in one way or another. You know, if you're working with a wellness business and then on your Facebook you post something that isn't such wellness related content, people are going to be like, wait, what is this? You know, so everything has to have the same, all needs to be wrapped up in the same way. Obviously what you post on different channels will vary, but it all needs to have the same consistency in terms of the style, the way it's written, the type of words that you're using, just to create a relaxed environment for your customer. Right, SEO. This is something that many people find really, really tricky and think it's super, super scary, and it's really not at all. It's very, very nice. So SEO is search engine optimization. So mainly focused on Google. And as a copywriter, more and more and more, it's essential for us to understand SEO, because people want their blog posts to be shown high up on Google. People want their products to be found. So we need to write with SEO in mind. So that means knowing that Google looks at websites that are designed for mobile first. So people nowadays are on the go, they're busy, which also means that they're more on their mobile. So you've got to be thinking, okay, it'd be lovely to write a 2,000 word blog post on something, but 2,000 words on a mobile is very uncomfortable to read. It's perfect for SEO, but it's also very hard to read. So one way, if you want to write a really, really long, engaging article, maybe it's a medical study that you want to analyze and relate to something in their normal life, so you can make it more human, that requires a lot of words and a lot of explanation. Or perhaps it's a process of learning and a learning strategy that you want your students to understand, and you need to break it down. So the key is making it accessible. So understanding that people want short bursts of content. People's attention span is really short. So breaking it up with nice big titles, clear, having clickable links within the text so that you get your traffic and your backlinks as well. You want to make sure the keywords that you're choosing, maybe choose 2 keywords per page, and make sure that all your pages aren't competing for the keywords either. So for example, you'll make a list of maybe about 50 keywords that relate to your business. And you don't want to be repeating these keywords along all the pages of your website, because they will compete with each other. So you need to choose certain keywords, so 2 or 3 keywords that you want each page to have. So even if it's a blog post on Tenerife, and Tenerife being the best place for digital nomads, you want to make sure that you've got those keywords are unique on that page and not being used anywhere else on the site, because you'll actually compete with your own site. So these little things that you'd never think about actually are quite a big deal. And there's things as well with meta tags, which are there on Google. You'll see you have the blue line with the clickable link, and this is text that you can edit within the back end of your website, which is all part of copywriting. These will be each website page, whether it's a blog post, an about page, a contact us page, will have the option to add in a customized meta tag. All of these things need to be unique. So you want to include your keywords, not stuff it through with keywords. You need to maybe have one keyword that you're going to use in each one, and make that really obvious. So you need a call to action. You need to be able to tell people what you're doing. So your meta is basically what people will see on the Google landing page of all the results, and that'll be what makes people click on your page over someone else's. So this is also something that, you know, a meta tag is probably about 70 characters, and a meta description 160. So they're not long. So that means every word counts, every letter counts, every space counts. So it also helps you train and write and get your message across quicker as well. So it makes you a better writer, writing lots of meta text. Using bold fonts, using bullet points, all of these things are great for SEO because they help Google see that you're actually taking usability into account. You know, it's not so much about keywords anymore, it's actually also about usability. So putting the reader first. Things like this are really helpful for SEO. I know some of you may have questions on that later, so I'm happy to help. And talk about the benefits and not the features of the product. So we spoke about this earlier about emotions and how people want to feel like your service or your product will benefit their lives, you know, and people don't really know the difference if you're offering a certain amount of, you know, people don't want to know the actual details of the product so much. They want to see it and understand it if they know it, but they actually need to feel, how can it benefit me? How can I fit it into my daily life? People are very selfish. They want to just know about themselves, essentially. So talk about the benefits and not the features. And a good example of this would be technical goods. You know, we get so lost in, especially buying computers or televisions, you know, we could be in a shop or online and see that, you know, looking at HD TVs, you could have a 120 hertz TV and you think, oh, I don't know what that means. But if someone tells you, you know, this means that every minute all these pixels are being regenerated, which means there's a clearer picture, which means when you're watching sport, it's really crisp and sharp. And you think, actually, you know, I want that one over this one because someone has explained this to me. I know what it means. I feel relaxed, and it's building that trust as well to be like, you know, they don't make me feel stupid. They don't make me feel lost. They understand that maybe I'm not an expert in this, and then they're helping me put it into the daily life of the consumer. So talk about the features, talk about the benefits and not the features, because that's really goes back to the emotion. It goes back to everything that you basically want them to feel. And of course, grammar checker and proofread work. There's nothing worse than going on a website and just seeing spelling errors everywhere. And everyone is guilty of it. And I mean, I'm a native English speaker, and my work is normally littered with spelling errors because we get so word blind writing so much all day that you just don't even notice it. And having to switch between American English or British English, and, you know, getting lost in however good you are with language, there's always going to be doubts that you have. So just having something that works in the background. I use Grammarly. It's amazing. You could just install it. You put it in your web browser. I can put the link in the chat for you all. And that also is great because sometimes it will tell you about the tone. So it will also tell you if the tone of your work has changed. So it could be like, oh, the majority of your work is in a happy, upbeat tone, but this line here is very negative. So maybe you should change that. And so, you know, it just helps you. It's like if you're a solo entrepreneur, you're doing everything all at once. It's just as if you're having someone else with a fresh set of eyes looking over your work for you. And I would 100% recommend it. No matter how good you are at English, you will need it. There's certain things that just are really, really useful to have, and this is one of them. So again, the structure and hierarchy of your text, whether it's a product page, a website page, a blog post, an Instagram bio, everything has a structure and hierarchy. And obviously this could relate to SEO, but in this case, I want to talk about just general structure and hierarchy. So we all know that a story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And this is the same for any text that we write. So people start at the top and finish at the bottom. So you need to take them on a journey. However short the text will be, it needs to have a resolution. So think about that always. So where are you starting with the text? Where do you want to end up? What is the goal of every bit of text that you're writing? And also think about what points you want to make. So maybe you have a whole page, like a landing page, and you're trying to sell an online course, or you're trying to make people sign up to an event. So you've got to think about, okay, what's the most important thing I want people to know? And obviously you're going to put that at the top. And then you start going through all the points that you have, and you start putting them higher or lower, depending on their importance. And also you want to put the shorter pieces of text at the top so that they're attention grabbing. You want to maintain the attention of the reader. And most people's attention spans, unfortunately, are very, very short, a couple of seconds, especially on Instagram. So on Instagram, for me, with the captions, I think it's an amazing idea that people put emojis at the start of their captions. So this, immediately when you're scrolling, you stop and you think, oh, wow, this is different. And then there's great apps like Planoly, which you can you plan your social media for Instagram, so you can put all your photos there and you can see the grid. That way you can also add in your captions and your hashtags, and so you need to think about the structure of that. So you want something really attention grabbing at the top, because if you're writing a lot of text, which a lot of people now do, then you want to make it people stop scrolling and interact with all your content. So have something attention grabbing. So maybe something like a title in capitals, and or things like, 5 things that I wish I knew before this, or don't make the same mistakes that I made, or something that you think, oh wow, actually, what are they going to talk about? So things like that, and also spacing it out. So on Planoly, there's a way for adding a space in between the separate paragraphs of text, which on Instagram, the actual app itself won't allow you to do. So using an app like that will actually help you structure your text better so that people stay more engaged. I'll also add the link to that in the chat.
Hey, sorry, Grace, can I just ask a quick question? I was just a little lost about the putting the emojis in the beginning.
Sure, yeah.
Can you just explain that, like in front of which captions, where, and on which type of social media?
Yeah, so it works on any social media platform, really. It can work anywhere on social media, but on Instagram especially, because when you're thinking about how Instagram is used, normally people use it on their phone, which is a really small screen. And people tend to be scrolling quite quickly. And so your post really only gets seen for 1 second.
Yeah.
However amazing the post could be, it only really gets seen for 1 second. And because the platform is so saturated with such amazing photography, even if you have an amazing photo, people might not even interact with it. So just by adding that little extra thing that could break the attention of people. So like having, for example, if your post is a woman meditating, you could have something that really is contradictory to that. So something like the siren light of a police car or something. I think there's an emoji for that. You could be like, attention, da, da, da. And then you could go on to talk about wellness and things like that. But that little icon isn't really something people expect to see. And so that will make them stop for a little second, longer than they would normally, and see your content. So it's having little tricks like that that you can use to help people interact, help people see that actually you're putting their needs first. And so I like to combine the emojis at the very beginning of the caption and then have like a sentence in capital letters.
Would you use that also on like things like Facebook or
Facebook
LinkedIn?
as well? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Both of those work really well because nowadays Instagram's being used to write little mini blog posts. And it's the same for LinkedIn. So a lot of people on LinkedIn use the posting facility to write quite long posts. And it's heavy on the eye to read, and people don't really want to read. They just want to see nice things. So by making people stop, even for a split second, maybe they won't read what you've written, but just making them stop and think, oh, actually, this could be interesting. And then if it is, they'll read on and they'll like and they'll follow, maybe click a link. But you've got to really be fighting for people's attention nowadays online, which is not fun.
Thank you.
So that's a good tip, I think, for everyone doing online businesses. And again, don't forget the who, what, why, where, and when. It's so very easy to get caught up in what we're offering, but not really focus on who we're offering it to. And it's very also easy to focus on, I want to offer it to everyone. So my target market is men and women and from 25 to 65. And that's not a target market. It's not niche enough. So you really need to get niche, because then you can expand outwards. But at the very beginning, if you really want to capture people's attention and convert people, you need to make them feel that you're almost making the business just for that person. So you need to really understand who it is you're targeting, what it is they want, why you're offering it, where they will go, or where they will see your products or buy your products, and when. Whether it's, whether they'll make the sale online or whether it's going to be something that happens in the future. You just need to be in control, and actually it gives you more authority once you've understood this and you incorporate in your writing. It gives your writing more authority because you show that you have this sense of, I know what I'm doing, you know, and it also helps build the confidence with your brand. You know, you're having a confident attitude, and people will have faith in your brand because it shows that you know what you're doing. They'll trust you, and they'll go to you because you know exactly who you are, what you're doing, why you're doing it. People like to feel secure. And so this really is a big thing about brand security. Obviously focus on storytelling as well. So a brand for me which does really nice storytelling is Ralph Lauren. So they started selling ties. He sells polo shirts, he sells everything, you know, men's clothes, women's clothes, children's clothes. Now he sells everything, but started off very niche. And, you know, they charge a fortune for their items, and they're very everyday items. So, you know, a polo shirt, you could buy a similar polo shirt in Primark for maybe 10 euro. But, you know, Ralph Lauren is 70 or 80 euros. And people buy it because the brand is so good at building a lifestyle around everything that they're selling, and you buy into it. It's aspirational. So from the little titles that they're using to the email marketing to their social media, they're telling you a story. They're building this world around what they're doing that you want to be part of. So, for example, with Tenerife Work and Play, you know, it's a world where digital nomads feel welcome. They will come there. They meet other like-minded people. It's this utopia of digital marketing and social media and copywriting and all these creative industries that before never existed. And now it's this fresh new world. And so it's exciting. And this storytelling will be portrayed throughout every platform that the brand has. And it will drive people in. People want to be part of something, and people want to belong. And so focusing on the storytelling will give people a sense of belonging. It will build trust. It will show transparency as well. So, for example, if you're a coach, maybe you want to focus on your personal story and how you got there, and you're not going into too many personal details, but telling a story about how your life was before, how a product like the one you're offering helped you, and how now with your experience, you're then offering a process or a product or a service that is even better than anything that you've tried, and that you want to be able to help people too. Without sounding phony. You need to be always sounding authentic. So storytelling is essential. And of course, use clear call to actions. So this is number 1, really, although this is number 10. It's so important to use clear call to action. So if you're on a website, it's the buttons on the page, or if you're on social media, it'd be like leave a comment or click follow, or if it's a printed document, it would be inviting them to visit your store, or it's something that creates an action that they can do after they finish reading your content. And you need to be able to understand which trigger words your target market want to see, and use these to your advantage to be able to convert people from, oh, this sounds really good, I'm really interested, to, I need this in my life, I'm going to order it now. So call to actions need to be clear, they need to be concise, they need to be easy to understand, and they need to be words that really identify with your target market. So understanding which call to actions to use is another topic. There's a lot of psychology that goes into this, but briefly speaking, call to actions are essential. So just understanding which words people identify with is very good. So now that's the class done. And I'm going to share with you a case study of both. This is a audio-visual company, for those who maybe not so aware of it. They're a global company, but their headquarters are based in America. And so this item here, the white box that sticks over the screen, this is what appears on Google. So you can see here, you've got the link to the website, you've got the meta tag, which is the blue text here, and you've got the meta description, which is the gray text. So you can see that both have done this very well. They've divided up, they are clearly showing who they are, and they've divided it up by these little bars, which are great for SEO. It means that it shows Google that you're talking about different things while still using the same line of text. So it's telling you that you're on it's Bose, the website. Then Feel More, Do More is they're using active tone of voice. They're inspiring. It's nothing passive. They want you to do more. They want you to feel more. It's all about emotions. And it's also showing that when you click on the website, you'll find headphones, speakers, and wearables. So you know exactly what you're going to find before you click on the site. In the meta description, it's saying the official Bose website, which is reducing anxiety. They're innovative solutions, so it's creative, it's dynamic. Again, they're repeating the Feel More, Do More, which is their slogan. So, it's showing that that's what they really want you to do. That's their campaign, it's their concept. And when you launch the site, this is what you see. So you see world-class sound for world-class dads. So world-class, it's incorporating everybody. It's showing high quality. And then you see on here, they've used 90-day risk-free. So again, it's reducing the anxiety. And at the bottom, I know. There we go. At the bottom, they're talking about community and where we live and where we work. And so it's very inclusive. And people feel welcome, people feel supported, they feel represented. This is a screenshot of one of their product pages. And you can see it's very clean, very sleek, it's black and white, very minimal. And it's focusing just on the key features. But again, not talking about features, it's talking about benefits. So they're saying that it delivers everything you expect and things you never imagined possible. So it's like, wow, this is great. So it's the tone of voice as if a friend is talking to you, telling you, wow, have you heard about this? Like this does this and this does that. You have to learn all about it, rather than a brand talking to you being like, we offer this and this and this and this and this. It's more colloquial, more approachable, and it's innovative. And the same on their social media. So this is a screenshot of their Instagram. And for me, I found this very funny. So say goodbye to, what did she just say? Can you rewind? It's everybody has had that moment when they're watching TV. And so it's relatable, and it's showing a problem and offering a solution. And the photo is something very ordinary, very simple. But they've done the structure really nicely on their Instagram. So they've got the space here. They've done it with just a full stop. And they're asking questions. They're showing something that you can relate to. And now they're also showing you that it's available in these different countries, and their call to action is to click on the link in bio to shop. So they're offering advice, it's positive, it's innovative, it's strong, they're using emotive language. They address the customer's needs in a fun and lighthearted way. They don't make people feel bad for not understanding something on TV or for not being able to hear things, They want to show that they're passionate about music. They're willing to invest in the quality of their products because they want the consumer to be happy. And you can see that their target market is younger. And they're interested in music. They're interested in networking with different people from around the world. And so I think their brand personality and voice, I think, is very strong, and it's shown very nicely throughout everything they do. Or if you click on their social media channels or their website, you get the same tone of voice, same brand messaging. You just know it's Bose, and you feel comfortable as a consumer. So yes, this is everything for today. And these are just the social channels. If you wanted to follow Tenerife Work and Play, then everything's here.
Thank you so much, Grace. I think it was great. At least I learned a lot myself, so thank you for that. We have a few minutes left, so if anyone has a question for Grace, feel free to jump in or put it on the chat. I will try to, we're gonna close on time, but I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to ask. Are there any questions out there? Any comments? Do you want to add anything?
No, for me, I think everything's.
No, I think Vivian was gonna say something, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that was fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, it was really good. It was like, I thought it was gonna be like okay, but it was like phenomenal. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes.
It was much more useful than I thought it would be.
Oh,
Not that I didn't have low expectations. I had moderate expectations, but it surpassed my expectations. So thank you. Thank you for
glad. Thank
you're
you.
obviously very knowledgeable in the field, and thank you for providing this for us. I think it's really great.
It's lovely.
I just
Thank
also
you.
wanted to, you're welcome. Thank you. I wanted to also ask if if there's any way that we could get, if people are willing to get each other's contact information, like in case anybody in the group here wants to
Definitely.
contact each other. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
I will, whoever wants to share their contact, I can share it. I will send an email, a thank you note, also with the link to the YouTube channel, so that you can go back to the presentation, and you have Grace's contact there too. But yeah, I'm happy to connect you guys, whoever
Awesome.
wants to share their info.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And so
good.
is this recording going to be available on the YouTube after?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Because I'm going to have to refer to some of it because my daughter was being demanding. So I was like, if I'm doing that, it's because I've got my daughter who's no school. There's no school at the moment. So I was thinking I really need to refer to this recording. So, but really just to say, to back Vivian, very informative. It's funny because, I mean, you kind of know a lot of the stuff seems obvious, but there are some points where you think, actually, I did miss that, and I missed that, and I need to make a link here, and what was really interesting is when you were talking about make it emotional. That was really important, actually, which obviously mine is completely based on emotions, so mine is completely on the emotions. Shush, Ollie. But it was very, very interesting to see how you can make like a pot, and I knew where you were going to go with that, because of course if the pot is going to stick, you're going to get quite emotional about that. So
I love to cook, so.
it's wonderful, yeah. And I hope you do many more of these things. And are you available? I mean, to communicate with
yes,
questions?
Yeah, anything. I'm more than happy to help. So
that's wonderful. Great.
Perfect.
Lovely. Can't wait till this lockdown eases so I can make my way over.
Yes,
and we can all celebrate.
Yes. Have a virtual pub crawl. Oh dear, a real one.
I know, right?
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Thank you very, very much. Really appreciate it.
What's the YouTube channel that it's going to be on? I know you're going to send it out, but whose YouTube channel is it?
The Tenerife Work and Play one.
Okay. Check that out.
Yeah,
those that out.
We actually have one. We have done 6 before, so this is the 6th one. So the previous ones are all there. You actually have one only on SEO. So if you guys have more questions about SEO positioning and so on, so that's specifically on that. We have personal branding on social media. We have email marketing, online business tools, etc. So you guys have everything there. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out anytime. Really thankful for Grace and her time and availability, because it was very useful. I agree. Great refreshing for those of us. And so so thank you everyone for your time. We're gonna close now, which is I am very mindful of everyone's time. So thank you again for joining, and we will have more events coming up soon, and we are actually planning some physical ones starting July. I'm still waiting for some approvals, but we will be back soon. Okay.
So how often do you have events like this?
So we try to do monthly events, like big ones, and we rotate around the island. But we also, so the webinars, we have been doing them every 2 weeks or so. So, but I would love to keep doing webinars, because I think it's useful also for people who are not based here in Tenerife. But let's see, I will try to combine some. We had a meeting last week to discuss the events coming up until the end of the year. So we try to combine everything from professional to more fun, more social, depending. We have done plenty of events. You can check out all our channels and have a better idea of what we do. But yeah, happy to keep you guys informed.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you again, everyone. Have a great day and
You
hope
too.
to see you guys soon.
Definitely.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
All right, take care.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.